But I do just want to make sure that I share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA.
DNA is inherent in your own nucleus cell.
We just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people.
Last week, Facebook announced they are, quote, expanding their efforts to remove false claims on Facebook and Instagram about COVID-19 vaccines, and vaccines in general during the pandemic. Even the New York Times covered the story. Let's take a look at Facebook's most updated COVID-19 vaccine policy. It says, quote, we want to make sure that our policies help to protect people from harmful content regarding COVID-19 and vaccines. But the real kicker is right here in the policy where Facebook says it would remove any content that, quote, claims the COVID-19 vaccine changes people's DNA. Well, we just got a new leaked tape from Zuckerberg himself, the CEO of Facebook, basically violating his own code of conduct. He would be censored on the platform today for what he said. Let's take a listen.
But I do just want to make sure that I share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA to directly encode in a person's DNA and RNA, basically the ability to produce those antibodies, and whether that causes other mutations or other risks downstream. So there's work on both paths of vaccine development.
That was from Facebook's internal weekly Q&A meeting in July 2020. So when Zuckerberg said, quote, basically, the vaccine is modifying people's DNA, it seems pretty clear modifying is synonymous with changing. Again, Zuckerberg would be banned from Facebook for saying this. In fact, this video of me showing the CEO of Facebook talking might be banned because he is violating Facebook's policy. Seems a little bit hypocritical, don't you think? But then Zuckerberg on November 30th, in a public live stream Q&A with White House medical advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci, appears to somewhat change his tune. He asks Fauci about the vaccines and their effect on DNA or RNA.
And just to clear up one point, I mean, my understanding is that these vaccines do not modify your DNA or RNA. So I think that's just an important point to clarify. If I'm getting anything wrong here, of course, correct me. But
No.
but just to make that clear.
No. First of all, DNA is inherent in your own nucleus cell. Sticking in anything foreign will ultimately get cleared.
Good. Well, I'm glad we can clear that up.
Yeah, I'm glad we could clear that up. It's unclear what is on Zuckerberg's mind or what's in his heart on the subject of the COVID vaccine. Isn't it interesting that Zuckerberg can vastly involve his thinking on the subject of vaccines, going as far as to caution his own staff, but as soon as he's made up his mind or appears to have made up his mind on the topic, he disallows the almost 3 billion Facebook users to do the same. Rules for thee, but not for me. The irony is, under their own community standards, they say they want people to, quote, discuss, debate, and share their personal experiences, opinions, and views as it pertains to the pandemic. But how do you, quote, discuss or debate something if you can't even share opposing views, or even facts, or even Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's own statements? Now, I'm not here to tell you my opinion or give you my thoughts on the vaccine. I want to be clear about that. But it is clear that Zuck is not living up to his own book of rules. What happened to free speech? And who is on this Facebook oversight board? Who makes all of their policy decisions? You heard Nick Clegg in that leaked phone call talk about that. Talk about how they make decisions in real time.
Mark can be very clear about that ideally we wouldn't be taking these decisions on our own. We would be taking these decisions in line with and in conformity with democratically agreed rules and principles. And at the moment, those democratically agreed rules don't exist. We still have to take decisions in real time.
Why do they get to determine what we can or can't say as it pertains to our health? We would know none of this, but not for the fact that we have a brave Facebook insider that continues to leak and transmit videotape of Facebook executives to Project Veritas. It's not that the insider is betraying Mark Zuckerberg. It's that Mark Zuckerberg is betraying what what Facebook ought to stand for. Be brave, do something. Send us an email or a tip at veritastips@protonmail.com.
Parizo democracy cinema. Tayamya dabi lola de yuko bweri ha. Democracy cine yishi dida kaima yizi idwe. Adiga loa chepeဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ပြည်တော်စုငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးညီလာခံ27ရာစုပင်လုံးစရုပ်ရအစည်းအဝေးမှာလည်းဒီမိုကရေစီစနစ်တည်ဆောက်ရာမှာဥပဒေရဲ့အထက်မှာမြည်သူမှမရှိဆိုတဲ့စကားရဟာဒီမိုကရေစီအုပ်မြစ်တည်တဲ့ခံမြဲစေဖို့အခြေခံတိုင်းနိုင်ရမယ့်အချက်ဖြစ်တယ်လို့နိုင်ငံတည်ဆောက်ရေး state building တိုင်းပြည်တည်ဆောက်ရေး nation building ဆောင်ရွက်ရမှာလဲမြို့သားအကျိုးစီးပွားရဲ့အထက်မှာမြည်သည့်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်မြည်သည့်အဖွဲ့အစည်းမှမရှိဆိုတာကိုခံရမှာဖြစ်တယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်ပြောခဲ့ပါတယ်။ပြဋ္ဌာန်းချက်များနဲ့အညီဆောင်ရွက်ပြီးစီးပြလို့ရှိရင်ဖွဲ့စည်းပုံအခြေခံဥပဒေ2008ခုနှစ်နဲ့အညီလွတ်လပ်ပြီးတရားမျှတတဲ့ပါတီစုံဒီမိုကရေစီထူထူရွေးကောက်ပွဲကိုပြန်လည်ကျင်းပပြီးအနိုင်ရတဲ့ပါတီကိုဒီမိုကရေစီစံချိန်စံနှုန်းများနဲ့အညီနိုင်ငံတော်တာဝန်ကိုလွှဲအပ်နိုင်ရေးဆက်လက်ဆောင်ရွက်သွားရန်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဘင်္ဂလားဒေ့ရှ်နိုင်ငံကိုရောက်နေတဲ့နေရဆက်ခံသွားတွေကိုလည်းနိုင်ငံသဘောတူညီချက်များနဲ့အညီကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့ရည်တည်ချက်အတိုင်းဆက်လက်ဆောင်ရွက်သွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။
So this one is great. Let's talk about what's happening in Myanmar right now. You probably heard that a few weeks ago, the Myanmar military moved in and arrested the state councilor, basically the president in Myanmar, and a good portion of the government because of election fraud, because they stole the election that that country had last November. Sound familiar? But anyway, the Myanmar military moved in, removed a good portion of the government, took control, and they're going to be handling new elections there soon. Now, the mainstream media, not just here in America, but really worldwide controlled media and all the puppet politicians around the world, they're all nervous, totally scared, trying to make it look like it's a coup and the military in Myanmar is evil. And, you know, they're trying to make all the good people look bad and the bad people look good, like they always do. Now, here's another development that just came out today. The Myanmar military, you know, not only did they remove a good portion of the government, but they also removed the central bank chief in that country too. So looks like they're cleaning the whole freaking house. Like this is just awesome. And on one hand, it's only a matter of time before this spreads, before other countries start stepping up and removing the puppet politicians in their respective areas. Heck, do America now, right? Our election got stolen. We've got some evil bankers here in this country. I'm waiting. Come on.
Guys, Don Jr. here. Just want to make sure everyone knows, guys, we are not done yet. I saw this clip of my father coming off of the golf course, getting a little relaxing time in this weekend, where he said just that.
Mr. President, thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I haven't finished yet.
Good.
Exactly. But he's actually accurate. I mean, the reality is this movement isn't over. All of the, the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys have all put into this thing is very much still alive and well. You see that. I mean, this is really a movement of the people, a movement against the establishment, a movement against the elite. A lot of those things have been brewing for quite some time. And that's why, for me, I'm still staying engaged, and we're going to get in there, and we're going to fight to elect people who really represent the people. The people like you who have gone through so much. And so I know my father's going to be in that fight. I know he's going to keep going. And I know we're up against a lot. We always have been. The media that's so stacked against us, they put up a study from NYU, one of the most liberal universities probably anywhere on the planet, that said there's no conservative bias in media or otherwise. There's no bias against conservatives. That's interesting. When I look at things that I put up on my social media that are either totally subjective, that are satire, one or the other, that get fact checked so that they can use that to knock my platform to prevent me from being able to get any kind of reach. I see that stuff on a daily basis. I don't see that on the other side. I don't see Joe Biden getting fact-checked for saying he's not going to ban fracking when he bans fracking. If there's even a little bit of ambiguity, they get the benefit of the doubt. Whereas if there's even a little bit, a monicum, something, like I said, subjective, who's to know what the fact checker's thinking? But certainly I know what I'm thinking, and I can come up with a parameter that makes everything correct. But the fact checkers can say that it falls outside of those lines, right? Joe Biden, not one tweet, as many incorrect ones that they've put out, has been fact checked. It's truly sick. But again, guys, it's a noble cause and it's worth fighting for. And that's why it's an honor for me to continue to be in that fight. I know my father's going to continue to be in that fight. He's going to be in there making sure that we have people who truly represent what America is all about. You can see in the first few weeks of the Biden administration, it seems, and this shouldn't surprise us given where so many in the family have made their money, but it seems like it's a China first, America last policy. When they're vaccinating terrorists at Guantanamo Bay while Americans are still waiting for that vaccine. When they're crushing jobs during a pandemic when Americans need them most. The nonsense never seems to end, but neither will our fight, neither will our resolve, and neither will our will to go on. So we're going to keep pushing for the American people and make sure our kids grow up in a country that we all recognize and love. Thanks a lot, guys. What's going on, Patriots? So, some interesting news coming out of the Biden White House. Apparently, they were caught trying to pre-screen questions at the White House press briefing. Think about this, guys. The Biden administration wanted reporters not to come up with impromptu questions, not to come up with something that maybe everyone wants the answer to but doesn't know. They wanted to know what they were beforehand so that this sort of show woke administration could seem prepared. Rather than a circle back girl, the press secretary, going to circle back on those things. Anything that would be remotely interesting, remotely difficult to answer, though important, she's just going to circle back. What I'd like to know is how many of those things did she actually circle back on? I'm going to guess 0. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say 0, and I'm going to go out on a limb even further and say, I bet you no one from the press corps even bothered to follow up. They asked the question because they felt maybe obligated to do something like reporting, to do a little bit of that journalism. But who wants to bet that none of them even followed back up? And who wants to bet further that there's no way that Jen Psaki came back to them with a response? She's just going to circle back. That means we're going to move on from that question and never go back to it. It appears to me as though the Biden administration is taking transparency about as seriously as they are unity, with all of their attacks on blue-collar workers, on American jobs, basically doing China's bidding, whether on purpose or by default, by crushing the American worker, American energy independence, looking at getting us back into new wars, it seems, with some of the movements that we've seen. So, I don't think they're taking transparency all that seriously. They're taking it about as seriously as they are unity, and that should scare all of us. Now, imagine for 1 second, just one, that this was Kayleigh McEnany. If this was a couple of weeks ago, and that was Kayleigh, and they asked the tough questions, and she didn't have an immediate answer, they'd say she is grossly unprepared for the job. She's totally out of her league. With this? No, oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, circle back to us. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We look forward to never hearing from you again. That's exactly what's going on right now. It should scare all of us. We should all be asking these questions, and we should all be holding the media accountable to make sure that they actually do their jobs for a change. I'm not going to hold my breath because we've seen what's going on for far too long, but that's what we should be doing. hold them accountable, make sure we're actually hearing the answer to the Circle Back Girls questions.
Okay, guys, our favorite Skywriter sign dragger is back. I'm not sure 100% if he's trolling KG on this one, because the new motto is an interesting one, and one that she made rather famous this summer in her RNC speech. So check him out up there. I think you'll appreciate this one as much as I did.
The best is yet to come.
As I said, guys, I promise you, that wasn't me doing it. That was not Kimberly doing it. This is someone out of the kindness of their hearts, someone else who did it yesterday, flying a happy Valentine's Day. Will you be my Valentine's Day guy to the president the other day? Pretty awesome. Just the support that you're seeing, the outpouring that we're getting from people across the way is just absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for all of that. Truly appreciate it. You guys have an awesome day.